Masechet Yoma, Daf 26, Kaf Vav. We begin with the next Mishnah, Pais HaShelishi. As we mentioned, altogether, there are 4 lotteries that are done on a daily basis every day of the year to decide which Kohanim would get to do the various avodots. And the third one, Chadashim L'Ketoret Bo V'Hafisu. So they announce anyone who is new to the Ketoret, anyone who never got a chance to prepare the Ketoret, or any Kohen can come and do it. If you did a Ketoret before, any time in your life, then you cannot join this lottery. They wanted to give everyone a chance at once in their lifetime. The Gemara will explain why. And the very last lottery, Chadashim, Aim Yeshanim, then they would invite both those who have done it before and those who did not do before, which is Min Ma'ale Ebarim Min HaKevesh Lam Mizbeach. Remember beforehand, during the second lottery, they took all the pieces of the Korban Tamid and they put them on the ramp going up to the Mizbeach while they did everything else. And then after they finished the Ketoret, then they need one person that would take all of those pieces of the various limbs of the animal and actually take them from the ramp and put them on the fire that's on the Mizbeach. Right? So it seems from here that one person took all 13 pieces. All 9 pieces, even though there were 9 different people that brought them onto the ramp. Okay, we'll discuss all this further in the Gemara, which starts off with a Tosefta Tana. Me'olam lo shana adam ba. No Kohen ever did the Ketoret twice in his lifetime because there was so much demand. Why was there so much demand? Everybody wanted to do it. Because they had a tradition that performing the Ketoret brings wealth to a person. So since everybody wanted that blessing, there was a lot of competition. So there's always someone there that never did it before. What's the source that connects Ketoret with a blessing? And the blessing to Levi says, they shall put incense before you in your. They shall put Levi will put specifically the Kohanim will put incense before you, Hashem, before your nose to anthropomorphically smell it. And it says after that, God should bless his strength, his chelo, his substance. So that's a blessing for wealth. So that's a source. However, right? It says similarly that they put whole burnt offerings on your altar, Hashem. So, and that's followed by Barech Hashem Chelo. So why don't you say that giving any sacrifice, any animal sacrifice, also brings the blessing of wealth? So what's so special about Ketoret? Says you're right. That would also bring blessing, but the animal sacrifices there's a lot of them. Not only the Korban Tamid, all the Korbanot that everybody brings, Chatat, Hasham, Shalamim, right? So as any Kohen who's involved in any of those will get that blessing. So that's no problem. There's not so much competition because every Kohen will have a chance many times in a lifetime to offer various animals. But Ketoret, there's only 2 a day. You can't add any more. And that's it for the whole year. So therefore, only 700 or so the whole year. So that's why there's so much competition. It's relatively rare. So now that we spoke about the special place that Levi has in the beracha, that he's the one that the Kohanim there are the ones that serve the Ketoret. So now we mentioned something else, that we never find a sage, a rabbi who teaches the more meaning halacha instruction, halachic instruction, except if he's from Levi or from Yisachar. What's the source for this? Levi dichtib yoru mishpatecha leYaakov. Also in those blessings, it says yoru, which is the same source as Torah, which means teaching. He will teach the laws to Yaakov. That's regarding Levi. Yisachar dichtib bnei Yisachar yodeh bina la'aitim la'da'at ma ya'aseh Yisrael. And Divrei Yamim, Mrs. Yisachar have understanding to make known to Israel what they should do. So that's also their practical knowledge. There you go, those 2 tribes. Question, Vema Yehuda Nameh, how about Yehuda? Right? Don't they have sages too? And Dichtib Yehuda mechokiki. Yehuda, my lawgiver. He gives the chukim. He also teaches Torah. The answer is no. That's different. We were talking about giving a suket to bring up the tradition to the halacha, right? You want to be able to give the bottom line practical halachic conclusion. That Levi and Yisachar do best. Yehuda is good at studying Torah in a theoretical manner, but not a halacha l'maaseh. So therefore, that's the difference between those two, right? You see in those first two pesukim, it mentions teaching to Yaakov what Yisrael should do, right? It's teaching to the people what everybody needs to know, which that pasuk is lacking in Yehuda. All right, this is quite interesting. I mean, certainly we had many great poskim throughout history who were in fact Leviim, like Rabbi Chaim David HaLevi, the chief rabbi of Tel Aviv, but we also had many who were not Leviim. So maybe they're all from the 10 lost tribes from Yisachar, who eventually were survived in exile or came down. But anyway, we do have many great poskim from lots of different places. So it's interesting agadah. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, back to halacha. En mefayesin al tamid shel ben ha'arbaim ela kon shezacha bo b'shacharit zoche bo arbit. So when we talked about before the lottery of the various people, right? Remember the second lottery had 13 people. The first four did the other things, right? They would do shechita, do the zerika, clean out the insides. But then nine of them would take the pieces of an animal of the korban tamid of the morning and put it on the mizbeach. How about the afternoon korban tamid? Who put those pieces on the mizbeach? The answer is all the same. I guess the shechita also, the shechita and zerika. You don't have to do a separate lottery for the afternoon because whoever did in the morning does it in the afternoon as well. We do this like, on Tisha B'Av, whoever gets an aliyah in the morning, they get the same aliyah in the afternoon. So we don't have to give out aliyot on Tisha B'Av afternoon. So similar system here. So that's what Rabbi Yochanan says. We're going to challenge Rabbi Yochanan from a braita. Another braita says, just like you have a lottery in the morning to pick all those 13 people that are going to be involved in Korban Tamid of the morning, so too you have another lottery in the afternoon. You need 13 more people to do the afternoon things. Not 13, only 11 were actually involved. Right, 9 bringing things up. 2 others. So you need another lottery in the afternoon for Korban Tamid Shel Ben Harbaim. So this contradicts Rabbi Yochanan, who says you'd have all the same people. The answer is Kitanyahi Baketoret. No. When this Braita says when you do have the same, that's talking about Ketoret. Just like you had a lottery, this was the second lottery that you pick someone to do Ketoret, so too this, the first lottery was Ketoret. First lottery Ketoret, so too the third lottery here is also for Ketoret Shel Ben Arbaim, because 2 Ketorets. But for the Korban Tamid, there's no new lottery. That's the same thing. Whoever did it in the morning does it the same. So we can resolve that would be Yochanan. All right, so far so good. We have another braita that says, Vatanya keshem shemayesin lo shacharit, kach mefayesin lo arbit. This braita has the word lo. Now Ketoret is nekeva, so you can't. We have to say la if it was talking about Ketoret. In fact, this is lo. It's talking about Korban, which is Zachar. So you see, just like you have a lottery for it, the Korban, in the morning, so you have for it, the Korban Tamid, in Ben Harbaim. Arbit means Ben Harbaim. So we have a braita that contradicts Rabbi Yochanan. No, we can answer Ema la. You have the wrong. You heard it wrong. It really should say la nekeva. It is talking about Ketoret. In fact, just like we said for the previous braita. So far, so good. But now we have yet another braita, or maybe it's the continuation of this braita, and shows that you can't give that answer. V'hatanya keshem shemafayesin lo shacharit kam mefayesin lo arbit. U'shem shemafayesin la shacharit kam mefayesin la arbit. This is both. We need a lottery both for it male and it female. So what's the it male talking about? That's the Korban Tamid. The la, that's talking about Ketoret. So this shows that there is in fact another lottery in the afternoon for the second Korban Tamid of the afternoon. So it's not the same people, and that contradicts Rabbi Yochanan. What's he going to say? Amar Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak, hacha בשבת עסקינן, הואיל ומשמרות מתחדשות. We're talking about Shabbat. Shabbat is different from every other day because on Shabbat, we have one mishmara, one group of kohanim that serves in the morning. In the middle of the day, they switch, right? Remember, they take out the 12 loaves of bread, right? And they split them. And then the new mishmara that's going to serve from Shabbat afternoon through the next week. So you see, that's not the same kohanim in the morning and the afternoon. So obviously, everyone would agree, even Rabbi Yochanan, that the afternoon korban tamid is done by a different group, and therefore you need another lottery. So therefore, this baraita that says you need another lottery for the korban tamid, that's talking about on Shabbat only. But during the week, Rabbi Yochanan is correct that your same people did it in the morning, do it in the afternoon as well. All right, so we solved that problem. Hold on, I know you solved the problem, but like, what were you even thinking beforehand? Because if you would need to have another lottery for those people who are bringing the korban tamid pieces onto the ramp, you need a whole nother lottery. Then you need 5 lotteries. And we learned that there's only 4, right? There's only 4 in the whole day. So that's what Mishnah said. So how could this ever have possibly fit in? The answer is no, we would include the lottery of the afternoon kohanim with the same lottery that was done for the morning kohanim in the second round, right? So they would, while they're giving it out, they would say, okay, lottery for the morning. Okay, then we're going to do a lottery for the afternoon. Kind of like we do on Yom Kippur. In the morning, while everybody's there, we sell the aliyot for the afternoon also, right? Because in the afternoon, right, not everybody's going to come back. And so we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to bid for them. So it could have been, in other words, it could have still worked within the system of four lotteries, and that is in fact what they would have to do on Shabbat. But during the week, they wouldn't have to do that because it was the same people, morning and afternoon. Good. Now the Mishnah continues with the 4th lottery, and so this would be for the person that would take all the pieces of the tamid and bring it from the ramp onto the mizbeach, onto the fire. We say matnitin delak Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov ditnan. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov omer hama'aleh barim lakebesh hu ma'aleh otan lamizbeach. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov had a view that those who previously brought the pieces of the tamid from the place of shechita to the ramp, they also come and bring them from the ramp onto the mizbeach, both in the morning and the afternoon. And so in that case, you would not need the 4th lottery to have another person who brings all the pieces onto the mizbeach, right? So therefore, our Mishnah the author of our Mishnah cannot be Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, because he would not require another person to bring them from the ramp onto the mizbeach. Okay, good. What's the essence of the disagreement? Mor savar berov am hadrat melech. Mor savar mekom shechina lav orach ara. Mor savar, the first opinion that says you make another lottery and get another person involved. They say multitude of people is the king's glory. It's nice that the more people, the better, right? The more people you can involve, it's nicer when you have a lot of people doing different things. So here's a chance to give another kohen a zechut. However, the Eliezer ben Yaakov says no, that we don't. In the place of shechina, we don't say that. If we're talking about personal needs, okay, fine. But if in a place of divine presence, so then looks like the first guy who brought it to the ramp, he's tired, he doesn't feel like doing it anymore. Let someone else do it. No, you started the mitzvah, you finish. You brought it halfway, now bring it all the way up. That shows your zealousness for the mitzvah, and not that you want to leave it to someone else. So therefore, that's the reasoning of the Eliezer ben Yaakov. That's the same. That's the same person that does it. Good. Amar Rava. Lo Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov itle de Rabbi Yehuda, ve'lo Rabbi Yehuda itle de Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Dimken basru lehu payasot. Okay, saying that these two opinions are mutually exclusive. You can only hold one or the other. They don't agree with each other. So Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, that's what we just said. What does Rabbi Yehuda say? We mentioned him yesterday. Yesterday. He says that you do not do a separate lottery for the ketoret and bringing the coals from the outside Mizbeach inside, right? You do just one lottery for the one that doesn't ketoret. Once he's picked, he's going to bring the actual ketoret into the Kodesh, and he'll tell a friend, listen, help me out. You come along with me. So therefore, all that is one lottery. So what they have in common, the Eliezer ben Yaakov says that we don't need a fourth lottery for the person to bring from the ramp to the Mizbeach. Now, if you don't have either of these lotteries, then you're only going to have 3 sets of lotteries, and that's not good because the Mishnah and everyone agrees you need 4. So therefore, the Eliezer ben Yaakov does not agree with Rabbi Yehuda. So he doesn't think that you need a 4th lottery for bringing things from the ramp to the Mizbeach. So what does he use the 4th lottery for? He'll say the 4th lottery is going to be for the person that brings the coals for the ketoret. So he's okay. But Rabbi Yehuda, on the other hand, thinks that you don't need another separate lottery for bringing the coals, only one lottery for the ketoret and the coals. So what's he going to do with the 4th lottery? No problem. He'll say, as we have in our text of the Mishnah, the 4th lottery is for the person that brings the pieces from the ramp to the Mizbeach. Good. So everybody needs the 4th lottery, use it for something. Interesting line. If you would find any Tana, meaning one of the memorizers, who has quotes a Braita that says there are 5 lotteries, he said, we don't have such a Braita. There's no Mishnah, no Braita. We never found anyone that has 5 lotteries. But theoretically, if you'd find one, then that opinion would not agree with either the Eliezer ben Yaakov and not Rabbi Yehuda, because how would you get to 5 lotteries? That would mean you need a lottery for a separate person to bring things from the ramp to the Mizbeach, and you'd also need a separate lottery for the ketoret and the coals. So if you have all of those, it would be maximum 5. Since we don't find anybody like that, there really is nobody that can agree with both of these opinions at the same time. Good, and now we get to the next Mishnah. Tamid karev betish'a ba'asara ba'achadasar b'shnemasar lo pachot velo yoter. Is a common formula in the Mishnah to give the range of all possible values for something. Okay, so we mentioned already that in the second lottery, there's 13 people chosen, but 9 out of them are carriers, right? They carry parts of the korban and the flour and the oil and the wine. They carry them onto the ramp. Okay, so we're only talking about the 9 out of the 13 that are carriers. So of those, the least there will ever be is 9. But there are some circumstances in which you'll have a lottery for 10 people. You have to add someone else. Sometimes 11, sometimes even 12. But it's never less than 9. It's never more than 12. Okay, what are the scenarios in which we'll have each one? Kesad, Asma, Betisha, the Korban Tamid just by itself with its mincha and the chavitin, remember that, and the yayin, all that requires 9. So that's the least every day, morning and afternoon. You certainly need 9. Behag beyad ehad seluchit shamayim harekana saran. On Sukkot, we also have nisuch hamayim, which is done in the morning, and so that we need another kohen to bring up that pail of water onto the mizbeach. So that would be 10. Now ben harbayim ba'achadasar, during the afternoon mincha every day, you'd need another 2 besides the regular 9. You need another 2. The usual 9 for the pieces of the korban tamid, that's the same, but you also have to bring 2 logs that you add onto the mizbeach. Now you add logs on the mizbeach in the morning also, but in the morning it's done earlier. That's done by the person that's doing the terumat hadeshen in the first lottery. That person also brings up the 2 logs. So that's separate in the morning. In the afternoon, however, those logs are brought up at the same time as the rest of the korban tamid. And so you need 2 people, 1 for each log. So then we got 11. B'Shabbat, B'Shabbat be'achadasar. Shabbat also has 11. Hu atzmo betish'a ushnayim beyadam shnei bazichim lebona shelechem apanim. We're talking Shabbat now in the morning. Shabbat morning you have the 9 for the korban tamid, and when we switch out the lechem apanim, the 12 loaves together with the lechem apanim are 2 bowls of frankincense that are offered on the mizbeach. They also have to be carried up by 2 kohanim, so that's 9 plus 2, that's 11 again. And when do we have 12? When it's Shabbat and Sukkot, right? When Sukkot falls on Shabbat, then you're going to have in the morning the regular 9 plus the 2 for the frankincense and another 1 to bring up the water, and that's how you get 12. Good. So now we got all the possibilities of how many would be the most and the least. All right, some questions on that. Amar Rabbi Abba v'temarami bar Chama v'temarabi Yohanan. Okay, we're not sure who said the statement, but 3 different possibilities. But it's definitely from Eretz Yisrael. Okay, en menasechin mayim bechag ela betamid shel shachar. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan says on Sukkot, when you're going to bring that jug of water up, it's done always in the morning with the tamid shel shachar. You don't do it in the afternoon. He says that statement. Now, how does he know that? Right? Because it mentioned here in the end of it, and end of the Mishnah, that on Shabbat, that's during Sukkot, that's when someone carries up the water, and that's how you get 12. And if you think it's talking about the afternoon, then on a regular Chol, non-Shabbat, you'd also have 12. How so? Every afternoon, you have the 9 for Tamid Shel Ben Arbaim, 2 more for Shenei Gezirei Esim, that's 11. And so if you'd bring the water in the afternoon, then you'd have 12, even if it wasn't Shabbat. So therefore we see that the water is not brought in the afternoon, it's only brought in the morning, and that's why on a usual morning, when you just have 9, and then so you bring this one also, that's only still, and you bring the water, that still will only be 10. Right, Small B'Tisha B'Chag, so Shamayim, that's Asara, that's 10, right? So therefore, the only time you'd have 12 is if it's on Shabbat, and you have the 2 frankincense, and you bring that in the morning, that's how you get 12. So that proves that the Nisuch HaMayim is always done in the morning. And we have yet another proof, Amar Rav Asher Afanan Nami Tanena, another Braita. Because it says in Masechet Sukkah, "Vela menasech omer lo hagbah yadecha." Shepam achat nisech al gabav, al gaber raglav, urgamu kol ha'am be'etro gehen shema mina. We have this famous story that's said about Alexander Yanai, one of the Hasmonean high priests, who himself was a Sadoki. And so the Sadokim do not agree on Nisuch HaMayim. Nisuch HaMayim is never mentioned explicitly in the Torah. Therefore, the Sadducees, who are more literalists, say, no, we should not do Nisuch HaMayim. You can't just take random things, put them on the Mizbech. They're against it. So one time, when he was the Kohen Gadol, he took the water that they had brought up and he poured it out onto his feet. Right, he totally disregarded in front of everybody and did not do Nisuch HaMayim. He desecrated it, in fact, by pouring it on his feet. And because of that, the people there were so upset because most of the people followed the Pharisees. So they happened to be holding their etrogim, which is convenient because when they were so angry, they pelted the Kohen Gadol with etrogim on that day. I'm sure that was a lot of fun until Alexander and I took revenge and killed hundreds and hundreds of people because of that. So that has a sad ending. Anyway, why do we bring this here? Because in the Mishnah it says, we tell the Kohen, pick up your hands. We want to see your hands, right? Show us your hands. And so that we know that you're taking the water and putting it on the Mizbech and not pouring it on your feet. We don't trust him. Now, right, because one time he put it on his feet and everybody pelted him with etrogim. What do you learn from this story? When was Nisuch HaMayim done? Must be in the morning because they were holding their etrogim. When do we carry our etrogim? Only in the morning, right? During Shacharit, Halel, Musaf. We don't carry them in the afternoon. So therefore, you see, that's a nice roundabout proof, but a very good one that Nisuch HaMayim is done in the morning. Shema Mina. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Omer, Minayin Tamid Shel Ben Harbayim Shetaun Shnei Gezirei Etzim B'Shnei Kohanim. We mentioned that in the Mishnah that you need 2 more Kohanim in the afternoon to bring up these 2 logs. How do we know that? Shene'emar ve'arechu esim. The pasuk says in plural, ve'arechu, they will arrange the wood. That's talking about 2 people that have to come and bring those logs up. Imeno inyan letamid shel shachar, tichtivu biyad aleh kohen esim baboker varach aleha. Teneu inyan letamid shel ben ha'arbayim. So even though the context there is talking about the morning, but we don't need to tell you in the morning because we have another pasuk that tells us that in the morning, ubi ayad aleha, kohen atzim, that the kohen will burn logs in the morning. And so, why do you need another pasuk to tell you varechu etzim? It must be talking about it in the afternoon. And see, it says it in plural, so therefore, it must be two kohanim do it. ben ha'arbaim. Okay, so that seems like a good answer, but hold on. Maybe both of these pesukim are actually both talking about the morning. And the reason why it's repeated is to say, bring two logs and then bring another two logs. I mean, you're burning a lot of things, right? So do it more than once and both times in the morning. No, that can't be. If it's talking about doing the same thing twice, it should use the same verb. But here, once it says varechu and bi'ayed, so that seems to imply that it's talking about doing two different things at different times, not the same thing at the same time. Not both in the morning, but rather something different, one in the afternoon. No, still not satisfied. If it just said ubi'ayed, I would think that only one person can bring. It's okay for one kohen to bring up both logs. So, and I wouldn't think not. I think no, not two. Kamash malan denabid chad v'nabid tereh. The reason why it says it twice in different ways to say ubi'ayed and then ve'arechu. So that teaches me that I could bring. So this teaches me that I have to bring two people, right? Two people have to bring it up. So that's why it's teaching, but it's not teaching me anything about the afternoon. Who says that? And we answer, Im ken nemakeda ubi aru. No, if it was just teaching me that you need one person can bring it up the first time, and two people need to bring it up the second time, you could still use the same verb of bi'ayed, but do the first one singular and the second one plural, but still use just ubi aru. Iname ve'arach ve'arechu, or use the same verb twice and say ve'arach and ve'arechu. My ubi'ed and ve'arechu shema mina kedeka amrinan. The fact that it makes the pesukim have two differences. Right, I'll show you here. This says ubi'ed, which is singular, and this pasuk says ve'arechu, which is plural and a different verb. So that teaches that there's two differences. Number one, that you have to bring two kohanim have to do it, and has to be done at a different time in the afternoon. So that's the proof that you need two kohanim to bring up the afternoon logs. Good. Taneh Rabbi Chiya, Pais פעמים 13, פעמים 14, פעמים 15, פעמים 16. So now going back to that, remember we saw in the previous Mishnah that there are 13 people that are chosen in the second lottery, right? That includes the 9 that are carrying things and another 4 that were doing other things, the shochet, haza'ah, cleaning out the inside, and the something else, the logs. No, not the logs, and something else. And so that's the normal 13. However, sometimes, including in that second lottery, we would need some more people, sometimes 14, 15, and even 16 are chosen. How so? Well, this is the same as the Mishnah that we just had. We mentioned that you could have 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, that's just if counting only the carriers. If you're counting also the people that are doing the other preparations, then you have 13, 14, 15, or 16. Okay, so this basically agrees with what we said before, right? The 16, the most would be Shabbat in the morning on Sukkot, right? When you need the usual 13 plus the 2 frankincense, 14, 15, plus the jug of water, that would be 16. Okay, good. So we understand Rabbi Chiya, but we have a question because Vatanya, Shiv'a Asad, right? We have another Braita that says there sometimes could be 17. Wait a second. How could you have 17? If you're saying there's 17, that must follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who says that you have only one one lottery for the korban, for the ketoret and the coals. So in that case, the 17th offering is taking up the pieces and putting them onto the altar, which is not like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, who says that the same people do in the morning, do it also in the afternoon. Oh, so that would be the 17th task. So this braita that says 17 would therefore follow his opinion. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, amen ve'amen.